Welcome to Greater Good Radio Hawaii, where leaders inspire leaders. Greater Good Radio Hawaii is dedicated to social entrepreneurship. I'm your host, Evan Leong, and with me is my co-host, Carrie Leong.
Thank you, Evan. Today's guest is Don Soderquist, former Senior Vice Chairman of Wal-Mart, Inc., during a time where Wal-Mart grew from $40 billion to $200 billion in sales, becoming the largest company in the world. In 1996, he was inducted into the Retailing Hall of Fame. Mr. Soderquist is also the executive in residence of the Soderquist Center that provides ethical leadership training for nonprofit, corporate, and student organizations around the world. Please welcome to Greater Good Radio, Don Soderquist.
Thank you so much, and it's my pleasure to be here with you today.
So, Mr. Soderquist, could you tell us how it was to work with Wal-Mart during a period of massive growth?
Oh, yes, it was a very exciting time. I had been in the retailing business for 16 years before that with Ben Franklin stores. As a matter of fact, was aware of a number of Ben Franklin stores here on the islands run by the Kamataki family. It's called Maui Variety. And so that's how I met Sam Walton, actually. He was a Ben Franklin franchisee, and that's how we struck up a friendship. And for many years, he was after me to join Walmart stores. But I will tell you, it was, as I look back on it, it was the most exciting thing that I could have ever chosen to be a part of. And I look back with no regrets over having chosen to go and work with Walmart. Every day was exciting. Every week was exciting. We were always trying something new. We were always expanding, growing very fast. And again, it was a wonderful time to be in that particular company. I have to tell you, though, I never would have imagined when I began with the company. I began in 1980. And actually, the sales of the company at that time were $1 billion. And then when I left the board 22 years later, they were over $200 billion. Unbelievable. And I could have never imagined that kind of growth with the company. But it was an exciting time, wonderful time. And I was very privileged to know Sam Walton personally and to be a part of it. As a matter of fact, Sam was a dear friend of mine. I loved him dearly. And learned a great deal from him, and I think he would tell you he probably learned from me, too, because they're a very, very open leader who solicited thoughts and ideas from us.
What would you say would be maybe 2 or 3 things that really stuck in your mind that you learned from Sam Walton?
Well, I could give you a lot more than 2 or 3, I guarantee, but I'll try to focus on a couple. First of all, he was an incredible visionary. He could see things that other people could not see in the retail business. We were a small company at one time, but he envisioned the opportunity to become large, not by focusing on becoming large, but rather by focusing on being the best that you could be. So Sam Walton was this visionary. He saw beyond the horizon and was always excited about what it was we could accomplish if we were the best that we could possibly be. In that regard, his vision was not to become the wealthiest person in the world, although he did become the wealthiest person in the world. His vision was not to build the largest company in the world. His vision was to bring to, first of all, small-town America, and then expanded to mid-sized markets in the United States, this shopping concept of satisfying your customers by low prices, quality merchandise, and being able to bring back merchandise if you weren't pleased with it. That vision expanded to metropolitan markets. It expanded to food, expanded internationally. So he had an incredible vision of what he wanted to do. But the focus of that vision was being the best you could possibly be. The second thing is he was very persistent. I mean, if he had an idea of what it was we could accomplish, he was very, very optimistic, and he stuck with it, day after day, week after week, month after month. We weren't a bunch of geniuses there. I consider myself and the people that I worked with ordinary people, but because we worked together and had values together and had a common mission, we were able to accomplish things that most people thought were impossible. Sam also, I mentioned the word values. Sam was a man of outstanding values. Integrity was at the top of the list. Respect for every individual, no matter what their race, color, creed, where they'd been raised, what their socioeconomic situation was. He truly respected everybody. exactly the same. Whether he was talking to an hourly associate or the President of the United States, he treated everybody alike. And then I guess the next thing that I would say that I really appreciated about him was he brought us in as partners with him, in the sense that he always solicited our ideas. He wanted to know what we were thinking, and he wove those into his own vision, and he listened to us. Most leaders, unfortunately, don't listen to everybody down the line. He was a great listener. So those are some of the things that I particularly enjoyed about Sam.
So he recruited you personally out of Ben Franklin then?
Yes, he did.
So
yes.
What was the point where you decided you were going to go?
Well, actually, I finally decided in 1980 to go there because this little small company called Wal-Mart had finally gotten to the place where they were $1 billion in sales, and they were no longer this tiny little company down in Arkansas. They were growing and spreading, and the growth opportunities continued to look a lot better than they did in Ben Franklin. And he finally convinced me. He was after me for almost 10 years to move down to Arkansas, and finally I got the message. This company is he's for real, and this company will continue to grow, and the growth opportunities looked outstanding.
So when you met him, his stores were doing what kind of revenue initially? When I first met him,
he had just opened his first Walmart store back in '63, and it was a relative, by any standards today, it was a very small discount store, probably 25,000 square feet, and it wasn't doing, necessarily that much business, but it was a lot bigger than the 2,500 square foot or 5,000 square foot variety stores that he had. And his vision was to open these stores in small rural markets and provide for those people the same opportunities that were available in the major metropolitan areas, discount pricing and quality service. When I joined the company, sales were $1,250 million in 1980. When he died, our sales were $44 billion. He died in April of 1992. Everybody thought that at that time the company would hit the skids or plateau out at least. And yet in the next 11 years we added $200 billion on the top. And that wasn't really because we were so smart. It was because the culture of the company had been so inoculated into our veins that we simply continued on as if he were there.
What was the thing that Sam did, or how did he do it so that the company could keep continuing?
Well, again, I think the issue of values, which are so very important today, where we've seen a major decline in ethical behavior in major corporations, in politics and education, almost any field you want to look at. Sam had a set of values that we talked about all the time. Every Saturday at our Saturday morning meeting, we would talk about values. We would talk about what our culture was. We were talking about taking care of the customer, treating our people with respect and dignity. And what we did is we hammered away at that on such a continuing basis, and did, in fact, treat our people right, did, in fact, treat our customers right, that it was so ingrained in us that it became habit. It was virtually a habit to take care of our people and to serve our customers.
When you first joined the company, what was your title and your role? And then up to when he did pass away, how did that change? And how did you folks come together to increase the sales that way?
Well, when I first joined the company, I'd been president of Ben Franklin, and I came there and I joined as executive vice president of distribution. And then over the years, I added more and more responsibility, or I shouldn't say I added it. Sam added more responsibility on my shoulders, took over human resources, took over information systems. And then in 1988, Sam Walton took a little bit of a step back, and he promoted David Glass to CEO of the company and me to chief operating officer. So David was chief executive officer, and I was chief operating officer. And Sam was still a factor in the company. There's no question about it. But he took a step back from the day-to-day operations. At that time, then I took over the Walmart stores and the supercenters. David had the Sam's working for him, and we kind of split the company down the middle. And David was a great partner with me. He treated me as an equal. And I wouldn't want to say we were co-CEOs at all. I was the chief operating officer. But we shared in those functions. And then over the years, we kind of switched around from time to time. When I ended, I think I had 11 major divisions working for me, including legal, public affairs, governmental relations, and as well as systems and human resources and loss prevention and real estate and store plan. Those functions, but it was about half the company is what I had. So it was added on little by little, and then in '88 we kind of divided the company virtually in half.
Thanks for tuning in. Stay tuned for more on Greater Good Radio.